Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Jesse Wadhams joins us. He's a partner with Black & Wadhams, attorneys at law, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are always delighted to welcome back to the program Jesse Wadhams. He's a partner with Black & Wadhams, attorneys at law. Pleasure to have you back on the program,
Thanks,
sir.
Sam, for having me. I appreciate it.
So what are you doing for the next few months?
Turns out there's yet another one of the Nevada legislature sessions coming.
So you're going to go to Carson City?
Every day for 4 months. It'll be an exciting time. The legislature stops for no person. So
it's you know what's interesting about what you say? It's a living, breathing entity.
it is. And you know, I've done this now, and it's like horrible to think that I've done this for 20 years. This will be my 10th session, and each one is its own thing. They are all they all run in a similar fashion. They all are the 120 days, but you put 63 legislators, 1,000 lobbyists into that building, and the way it starts to shake out, it just becomes it's a different thing every time.
Charlie Abowd said to me, we were putting on a dinner for the legislators a few years ago for our nonprofit, and Charlie said to me, okay, the way we plan this is, whenever they want to show up, they show up. They do what they do, and we just react to it. And he was absolutely right. Dinner was held for an hour, and everybody showed up.
That is absolutely how the Nevada legislature works, and I think it always has.
Yes, to say the least. And the best MC ever for any of our events was Congressman Mark Amadei, who had the ability to bring the House to its knees with laughter. Because he was the only person that would, when a speaker would be done, didn't matter if it was the governor or whomever else of a high ranking, he would then go through and say, well, I'll give you a 5 on this, a 3 on that, a 2 on that, and the rest was pretty good. Let's talk about, okay, to you, what do you think are going to be the biggest issues of this session?
Well, I think it's always kind of the big, maybe three issues, right? You've got your education, healthcare, and then how we're going to set up the budget to deal with the various issues of funding the state. And I think in so very many ways, Nevada has done a relatively poor job of funding our state. And that leaves education, it leaves healthcare, and it leaves just the social safety nets a little bit more threadbare than they should be. And so, it'll be interesting. I think there'll be interesting bipartisan support in education that I don't think we're going to expect in a normal environment. I think there's a lot of issues around Clark County School District that I think you're going to see bipartisan agreement on how we might get some reform there.
Basically, because they've had a huge budget crisis.
They've had this budget crisis. They've had this vacuum of leadership. And so, you saw the legislature in 2023 pass adding more trustees to the school board, and then the elected trustees pushing back on that, not allowing them to vote. So I think you'll see interesting bipartisanship in certain places in education. Full disclosure, we represent a lot of healthcare, so I hope to see some focus on healthcare. I mean, Nevada, most Nevadans, including in Southern Nevada, live in a federally designated healthcare shortage area across all of your specialties. I think we need to have a good, long, hard look at how we deliver services and how we not only get more physicians, more doctors, more nurses, more name your specialty into the state, and how we want to incentivize that. So hopefully we see something there.
Okay, so what kind of incentives do you think are possible?
Again, it comes back to now how we're going to fund the state. We do know that adding dollars to Medicaid is an incentive to doctors. You're not going to get rich taking Medicaid, but what happens is now you have a better base from which to build a practice or delivery of care. So I think seeing, again, and I imagine at this point in your career, you've had how many thousands of people tell you if we can bump Medicaid, we would see some benefit. So hopefully we do that. I don't know. I think we also need to think about, and this is where a federal delegation gets involved, is we have to expand graduate medical education in a very big way. And that requires more slots being made available from the federal government. You can only do so much at the state, because when those GME programs were allocated, we were a tiny state. Now we're a relatively large state. And so you've got a 1990s solution in a 2025 state. So that will require some coordination across both the federal and local delegations.
Congressman Amodei on this program now, I think at least 3 times on 3 separate appearances, has mentioned how much he misses Senator Reid.
Having the majority leader or the minority leader of the U.S. Senate did provide some significant advantages to getting stuff done in D.C. There's just no substitute for that level of leadership, that level of essentially time in office and power. And that moves the needle, and did for a long time for Nevada. And I think no matter where you stood on how you're partisan leaning towards him, having that leadership is a vacuum that is missed.
One of the things that was so fascinating to me was after he passed, how many very conservative people said not only nice things about him, but that they had great personal relationships with him. Andy Aboud with Las Vegas Sands, for example, talked about how he had gone to his house on a regular basis. Harry had talked about Sheldon Adelson and Steve Wynn saying, well, we may not agree politically, but if they ever need help, I'm always there for them. And he certainly proved that over and over, certainly did with MGM, for example.
No, absolutely. And my experience in working with mining and the industry, he was always a big friend to the mining industry, very, very helpful on issues around permitting and land and all of that. So I think, and again, that's, depending on your partisan leaning, it might be not work, but keeping Nevada moving was certainly one of his primary goals.
Oh yeah, to say the least. So one of the things that Nevada has been famous for over the years is that we are a thrifty state. So when you talk about money, because one of the things I asked Senator Reid about years ago was how come we sent all these dollars to DC, but we didn't get that many dollars back. And his response was, well, we don't provide the matching funds that are needed to bring those dollars back. Has anything changed in your opinion?
I've come to learn, and maybe this story is apocryphal. It's I'll get the professor that writes and that says I'm completely wrong, but I have heard that some of that federal match, some of those federal dollars we don't get because sometime during kind of the Sagebrush Rebellion era, we didn't want any level of tie to the federal government. We didn't want to be getting that money and then have the federal, whatever.
And you're going back to the late 70s, early 80s.
70s, 80s, which then we sort of, our agencies weren't really allowed to apply for such grants. We weren't really trying to move the needle to bring more federal dollars in. And another, we are a thrifty state. We are also a state that likes to do things kind of the same as we've always kind of done them. And so that ethos sort of continued to permeate, and we really haven't unwound a lot of that. Now, I do think that we are seeing more interest in how we are going to match this again, with this, not just starting with Governor Sandoval and expansion of Medicaid, but I think we are seeing places where, hey, where can we find more grants, more matches, and putting in the dollars to get the dollars back out.
One of the things that would play well in this, because I remember going back to the 1960s when I was -3, I think, age-wise at that point, was the British government had a great shortage of nurses and doctors. And they started applying to India, to the Caribbean, to Jamaica in particular. And you saw literally the color of Britain change going back then. Bus drivers, there were all kinds of needs that we had. Here in this country at this point, we are anti-illegal immigration, obviously, but we have a completely messed up, and I'm being really polite in using those words,
generous
immigration system that, people can say, oh, we've made attempts to change things, but since 1986, we haven't done diddly.
No, and you're exactly right. We are a nation of immigrants. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. I thought that was something we we are a nation of immigrants, and we should be. The America of my vision we are a beacon that is wanting to bring the best and brightest here. And if you come here, and we need pathways to do so, because we want that energy, we want the population base, we want the science, we want the degrees. All of those pieces all fit together. I mean, I've heard it. There was some talk. Talking about ancient history. When I worked as a staffer on the Hill, there was some discussion of if you got a PhD in a hard science, basically your immigration papers were just stapled to the back of the PhD, and we never even got to that point, because why wouldn't we do that? Those are the best and brightest that we should have in this country.
Yes, and it's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, obviously, to those of us who follow this, political world is what I'm referring to. There's a lot of bluster going on right now with the new administration. They have a very limited amount of time to get things done, because within 2 years it's going to be the midterms, and then a lot of people are going to be running for election for president because it will be an open seat at that point. Do you think that after the bluster of this initial first few weeks, few months, that we will see something that comes out of this that says, okay, we all agreed we want to get rid of the criminals. Now let's decide who do we want?
You'd sure like to hope so, right? I mean, I think
because it has to come from the Republicans, because it's not going to come from the Democrats.
But that you start to say, well, it seems pretty clear to me that one of the lessons of the election was that Americans, by and large, they want borders. They want to deal with immigration in some way. Now, I don't think it is an absolute crackdown and lock down borders, but I do think we have to have some kind of reform, and hopefully that does come. I do think, again, maybe there's a little bit of this administration is moving faster because of the nature of it is inherently limited to a 4-year term.
But plus, they had 4 years to figure out what they didn't get done the first 4 years of the Trump
so they're going to
administration.
race in this first 2 years. But I think you're right. I think we will see some kind of, at least, well, I would hope we will see some kind of a moment of clarity to say we've got to fix this broken immigration system. How do we get people in that are going to be contributing, that are going to be part of the fabric of America, as they always have been since this country was founded?
One of the things that's interesting too, and nobody has really picked up on this, is that, with the immigration bill that was passed, the reform, back in '86, there was a time period. So if you had arrived, I think in the last couple of years, you were not eligible for the amnesty that was being offered at that point. It had to go back a certain amount of time. You had to have been here a certain amount of time, be able to prove that. So the idea that everybody who's coming across the border in the last 2 to 5 years is going to get to stay, that's not really how that would play out.
No, and it does strike me that in politics, you write the bill that you can get passed, and if there are a delayed effective, or there's some kind of you can't have arrived within X period of time. Again, all of that is doable with people that want to get the job done, and that's always kind of the problem with politics. Is unfortunately, all too often, it's this. We live in even more of a soundbite time than they did in '86. Is everybody's kind of looking for that political win, not the fix that we need.
What's going to be interesting to see on the Republican side in the Senate is the influence of John Thune, now the majority leader there. He is not somebody who is flamboyant and just goes along to get along. He is a very experienced former governor, and I think that he is going to play a major role in how things come out, because any immigration reform has to come from the Congress. It's not going to come out of the White House.
Right.
But that's where the agreement ends up.
Exactly. No, and it'll be interesting. I think you're right. I think you've got John Thune, who's not some. He's never struck me as some hyper conservative. I know, fortunately, I don't follow Congress as closely as I do the Nevada legislature. I stick to my own knitting, but he's always struck me as relatively, straight shooter, but conservative. But he's going to have to corral a difficult Senate, and then the House is a whole different thing.
Oh, yes, it is. But I think potentially malleable. But we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more with Jesse Wadhams after this timeout. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
The new year is bringing so much fun to Tamarack Casino with cash and free play drawings Thursdays and Saturdays, and $40,000 in grand finale giveaways Thursday, February 27th. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news in between and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Jesse Wadhams. He's a partner with Black & Wadhams Attorneys at Law. You brought up education. Do we just throw more money at it this time, or do we throw accountability at it?
I think you're gonna. I do think, and I think Senator Canizaro's put together a bill. You got the governor's going to put together a bill. There is going to be some accountability measures. Now, whether the kind of things that the governor wants will match what Senator Canizaro wants, that's the politics, right? That's how the building works, and trying to find if there's places that they can come together. I think again, and I come back to the CCSD, how it kind of gotten so muddled with that change of leadership, with trustees that were, pushing back against certain reforms. So I think you'll start to see more idea about accountability. Usually that tends to come from the Republicans, but I think the Democrats are moving that direction to say if we're going to spend this money, we have got to see some results.
All right, more with Jesse Wadhams after this timeout.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Jesse Wadhams. He's a partner with Black & Wadhams Attorneys at Law. Mining, who you have been involved in for, I think, your entire career.
Most of the career, yeah.
Are there issues that they need to address at this session?
At the state level, I think things are relatively straightforward. I mean, obviously, there's always things to be done in terms of speed to permitting and all of that. But, you've got the federal issues that are, I think, at this point, probably a little bit more at the forefront with regard to how they use, staked land and those. So that's you kind of have to have the federal issues. But I think at the state level, about 2 sessions ago, they initiated that gold tax for mining or for education. They've redone how you allocate funding of mining money to education. So right now, I don't tend to see a lot of issues in that space, but again, water issues are gonna, and that's gonna bleed into so many things, not just mining, but agriculture, into cities development, economic development.
Robin Titus has taken that on from Pico Cachia.
Water is going to be, it remains as true as when Mark Twain said it, water's for fighting. So we'll see what happens there.
Very interesting, the amount of people in office and out of office who say no interbasin transfers.
That seems to be one of the, I think that is what is coming. There's going to be a lot of new, science has moved a lot since Nevada created its water law, and I think we're just going to have to start seeing the law catch up to where the science is.
And we talk about the lithium loop all the time over the last couple of years, but gold is still king.
No, we are a gold mining state, and it is still what we do in this state, and we do it well.
Yes, to say the least. But do you see anything coming into play? Because it seems like the federal government has taken over the whole lithium situation. It's a matter of national security.
Yeah, no, and I think there are things we can be doing in the state to be helping foster that. There are different methodologies for extracting lithium. You have the traditional method where you pull up the brine water and then essentially use the sun to melt it off. There's direct lithium extraction that I think the state needs to start thinking about how it would do. Because again, if we can do a direct lithium extraction and essentially return the water to the basin, that seems like a better solution than pumping it up and melting it off, or evaporating it off, to be more scientific.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, thank you, Professor. Well, it's going to be a fascinating session, and of course, we didn't get a chance to talk about it on this show, but the politics of a governor's election is going to make this a fascinating session.
This is going to be a fascinating session. You've got the dynamic of, obviously you've got heavy majorities for the Democrats, but no 2/3 in either house. It'll be fascinating. I think there'll be a lot of political theater as we get to May, and then I think, like we saw last session, you'll just see a slew of bills, 700 in the last month.
Unbelievable. I will see you in Carson City, sir, and looking forward to it. And seeing your dad, too.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org. Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to CAANV.org.
A new year brings new ways to win big with the $150,000 flurry of cash giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Thursday and Saturday prize drawings, including up to $5,000 in cash and up to $10,000 during the grand prize giveaways, only at the Carson Valley Inn.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day on various platforms, including television, radio, our website, audio and video podcasts, YouTube. You want to find the show, you can find it pretty darn easily. And we cover politics, business, health, and education. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next podcast.